live. It's the Craig Bowl Football Show. KX4 and Gate City Bank present the Craig Bowl Football Show.
Physical domination. The North Dakota State Bison flexed their muscle in a display of physical football that Southern Illinois won't soon forget. NDSU moves to 7-0 and keeps control of their destiny for the Missouri Valley auto bid to the postseason. Head coach Craig Bowl joins us in studio. Wow, what an impressive performance by your guys in the second half of that football game.
It certainly was, Jeremy. Southern Illinois is a good football team. They came off a couple real quality wins. We knew that our ace in the hole was our physicality, and when that was going to come about, we thought it would be the second half, and that's how it sure came out.
You know, in the first half, they went up 10-0, but your guys really stayed calm, and there were signs that you were starting to get some traction in the running game, weren't there?
Well, I thought that had the biggest telling sign. In the past, you know, they would deploy a lot of guys at the line of scrimmage, but the run would go for 0 gain. We were getting 3, 4, 5 yards. And so sooner or later, those things are going to break into big runs, and they certainly did.
Well, congrats on the win. Let's break it down. Let's show the highlights for you. And early on, we mentioned you fell down 10-0. They were moving the football early in the game, weren't they?
Well, they're a good offense, and they had a good scheme. They caught us on our heels a little bit, but you know they've got playmakers, and it was going to be important for us to stay in the fight. Sooner or later, we felt like we'd get a couple turnovers. That really never came about, but I thought our pass rush in the end of the game was really, really important.
And this was a sign of things that comes. The safeties played well, Dudzik.
Well, you're right. And we are working on stripping the football here. They were fortunate. We stripped it, and they came up with it. Our safeties were simply outstanding during the course of the game.
And here's what we were talking about. SIU top 5 in the nation at stopping the run, but there were signs that you were getting to them like nobody had.
A good job of blocking off tackle here, and Sam breaks into the side. That's the same type of play that we broke against Kansas State deep in their territory.
Nobody was moving real long drives. Now here's a punt again. This is Ben LeCompte doing his thing.
Well, Ben is such an outstanding punter. I know a lot of our fans want us to go for it on 4th down, but you can protect that defense when you pin somebody down to the 1. That's a long, hard road to go.
Again, the safeties, Hegel and Dudzik, when they're both clicking, that is a huge part of the defense.
Well, it certainly is. Here you can see great penetration here, and Christian, you know, he's coming from a deep position, and that's a tackle for loss.
They do put a drive together here, though. Corey Faulkner does throw a pretty nice ball.
Well, he's a good senior. He's 6'4", 225 pounds. He's played a lot of football, and here they did a nice job protecting the passer, and that's a deep crossing route, and they converted.
They get a 13-yard touchdown here, and here's where you get down in the game. It's 7-0 at this point.
Well, good job of protecting, and they found a soft zone in a soft spot in the zone and came up with the touchdown. We made some adjustments right after this.
Now the Bison give the ball back up, so they're back on offense. This is a 3rd and 7 play. They get 8.
You know, good job on their part. You can see one thing was great was Marcus, even though he had a cast on, was much more aggressive in his tackling.
Here's a good sack by Kyle Emanuel.
Really was. You can see Kyle coming across. We got the strip, and it was their lucky day. I thought we were going to come up with the ball there and avoid any points.
And the key was you held them to a field goal again here. Instead of 14, it's 10-0.
Well, that was a critical part. There's a couple critical parts, but right there's a big difference between 10 and 14.
Now here's a key play in the ball game. I thought it's late second quarter. This is a 3rd and 1. You get the first down, but there's a penalty. It forces a 3rd and 6. So it's a passing situation now, and this is where you hit him with the big pass play to get the touchdown.
That was a good job by Brock here. We did a pretty good job of protecting the quarterback, and Brock, you can see, scrambles out of the pocket towards the right, found Zach, who had slipped behind the secondary defender, and Zach's got a great concentration on the football and good body control. Wow, did the momentum change right there.
Yeah, that was a big play. Now at the end of the half, you have another chance. This is kind of a Hail Mary as we head to the half here. It's 10-7.
You know what, we were a little bit disappointed. We can work on our 2-minute a little bit more here. We threw the ball up in the end zone. They did a nice job of defending. It was too far for a field goal. But you know what, we're well within 1 possession here, and that's what we're shooting for.
Time of possession was SIU in the first half, but that would change in the second half, no doubt. Ben LeCompte, a very good half, and the running game starting to churn out some yards, 64 yards. Well, the physical beatdown, a big part of that was the defensive tackles, and Ryan Drevlo is one of those, and he is on the Bison hot seat. Is your room neat or a disaster?
Absolute disaster.
Did you need training wheels when you learned how to ride a bike?
Nope, my parents just let me fall over.
Which do you like less, the doctor or the dentist?
Dentist.
When you dress casual, what kind of shoes do you wear?
Tennis shoes.
Who was your hero as a child?
My dad.
Facebook or Twitter?
I'm a Facebook guy, don't have that Twitter account.
Favorite professional sports team?
Twins.
Least favorite sport to watch?
Tennis. I hate tennis.
Would you rather have it 100 degrees or 10 below zero?
10 below.
What do you like most about Coach Bull?
His leadership ability really gets us fired up.
How do you want Bison fans to remember you when you're done?
Just a guy that played hard and did everything he could for his teammates.
Well, Coach, a first half deficit, so what did you talk about at halftime?
Well, we did make some adjustments. Our halftime locker room is usually a pretty clinical, sterile place where we are making adjustments. We felt like we could move the ball on the ground, needed to shore some things up on defense.
Well, you won the toss as we roll the second half highlights, so you got the ball to start the half, but some adversity right here, you turned the ball over.
You know what? I think this told a lot about our football team. Here, Southern Illinois did a nice job. It's a good call. We had Brock on the quarterback draw, and he gets the ball stripped. The Southern Illinois came up with the football. Our defense came out, and this right here was, I think, a real telling sign of how the game was going to come about.
And it's tough on quick turnarounds like that. The defense did a great job.
Well, sudden change is always difficult. Here you can see their quarterback's got good mobility. He moves around, scampers for a first down.
Now their quarterback, here's a big play as well. He gets hurt on this play on the follow-through. He hits a helmet. He had to leave the game.
We didn't even recognize that. We just thought we didn't know why they changed the quarterback, but here you can see him coming off. And that's always a difficult thing when you take that hand and it hits a helmet.
Now the field goal opportunity hits the upright. This was a big turning point.
Well, it really was. It kind of doinked around there. It hit the one upright, and then I thought it was going to cross the upright there on the other side, and it was no good.
Now Brock Jensen really got dialed in after this point. The momentum's changing. He makes a terrific throw here.
Here you can see the good protection, threw a dart right down the middle of the field. Ryan Smith came up with good concentration. We're deep in Salukis territory.
And after a missed field goal, you got a penalty, and a 4th and 1. You go for it now.
Yeah, we went ahead and chose to go for it. We felt like it was important to keep on the field, and it was good that we converted.
Now John Crockett finishes it off right up the middle of that defense.
It's a great job. Everybody talks about it. I don't know, why do you run it up the middle? That's why you're running up the middle.
Now the domination starts. The defense forced a 3 and out, and you're back at it. That ground game is really churning out yards.
Well, as the game goes along, the physicality, you can see us moving all the defensive fronts. No one was even at the point of attack for San Jury. Ran through a hole, and that's about a 45-yard gain.
That was Zach Johnson pulling and getting a great kick-out block. He played a tremendous game up front. Now Crockett, 26-yard touchdown, and you're really opening up a lead here.
Here you can see great blocking all the way around. John didn't have to break a tackle, went into the end zone, 21-10.
Another 3 and out by the Bison defense, and now a 4th and 1 here. Great play call. Love it.
Yeah, we went ahead and went with a sprint option here in the 4th one, and John came up with a pitch. Brock did a great job pitching the ball to him.
John Crockett then finishes this off, a 30-yard touchdown, a real demoralizing run for SIU here.
Well, good job of blocking by Andrew Grothman here. John makes a backside cut. Once again, nobody even touches him until he gives the stiff arm and came up with a touchdown. Now we're up by 18.
Yeah, and it's the end of the third quarter, 28-10, just a dominating third quarter. We'll talk more about that as people head for the exits. And here, the 2 defensive tackles, great pressure they meet at the quarterback.
Oh, you can see we're just starting to bug the quarterbacks. Ryan Drevelo had his best day in a long, long time, forcing pressure on that quarterback.
Now again, a drive trying to get some points, some tack-on points here. Brock Jensen to Ryan Smith for 30 yards.
Yeah, it was a good job of protecting here. They were ganging up on the run, and you know, you can see Ryan's wide open down the field here. Brock put the ball on the money. Now we're across the 50-yard line.
Boy, Crockett's really running with a purpose. He did on this day. He gets another 7 yards, really churning out some yards.
All our running backs right now are playing with a great deal of determination. They're healthy, and you can see that pile just continue to move.
You get a field goal here, some real tack-on points, 31-10.
Good job of this. The hold, the snap. Adam got the ball up 31-10, 21 points late in the fourth quarter. We're feeling pretty good.
And here is an exclamation point. They have a big tight end, big physical kid, and he gets his fillings readjusted here.
Yeah, he's an NFL prospect, and Colton Hegel is one of our most ferocious hitters, and you can see him deplete him.
Wow, that was some physical play there. Very impressive. 31-10, Brock Jensen, a solid game. Crockett and O'Jury both over 100 yards. SIU did nothing in the run game, 30 carries for 46 yards. Let's hear what the players had to say after the game.
Well, you know, it was amazing. You know, we come out, and after the first couple series, the coach was like, listen, you know, they're not going to run the ball on our defensive line. Like, they're too good. You know, it just speaks how much respect opponents have for every single one of those guys up front. So we said, okay, back end, we need to figure out the coverage, then we need to start locking these guys down, and if we do that, we'll shut them out the rest of the game, and that's what we were able to do.
There's a lot of the preparing all week with their different stunts and different things they do on their D-line, and we pretty much got those all down during the week. And they didn't run as many as we thought they would, but we got through, and we got on the guys we were supposed to, and it just worked out from there.
I think that's kind of been the theme all year is we're a second half team. We make adjustments at halftime, and just being a tough team that we know we're not out of it in any game.
That's that big hit that you had. How does that feel when you come up and race somebody else?
You know, a lot of people are telling me it reminds them of South Dakota State when I was a freshman, but you know, it felt good, and he's a big dude, and I didn't even think I knocked him down, to be honest.
Yes, you knocked him down, Colton, big time. Well, this week's Nodak Mutual Insurance Player of the Game was John Crockett. The junior from the Twin Cities had a career-high 171 yards rushing. He found the end zone 3 times. He was the beneficiary of great blocking up front, but John is running with a purpose and an attitude that is demoralizing opponents.
From kickoff, from end of the game, we're going to keep smashing. We're going to keep smashing. We're going to keep smashing, and that's just how we play. You know, we're conditioned. We're trained to do that. And with those guys up front doing that time and time out, it's easy for a little guy like me when they're 300 pounds running around kicking butt.
Well, that's a pretty prophetic way to say it, kicking butt. That's exactly what happened. Let's talk about this offensive line, Coach. Just really solid when they're healthy, and this was the first game in like 3 weeks they had been healthy.
All the guys are back in their original spots, and when you have those 5 guys playing in concert, they know what the other guy's doing even before it happens. Had a huge impact in the game, and those guys did a great job. Certainly our running backs are running hard, but they're the first ones to note you know, the talent and the skill level of that offensive line.
The total yards in the third quarter of this game were 245 to 31. Right out of the half, you just took control of the game, and a lot of the credit goes to the O-line, I think.
Well, in the running backs will say it. Here you can see a lot of the runs. Now here we break a couple tackles, but a lot of those runs were just made because there was just clear paths to run through, and that makes it a lot easier for running backs. Certainly their speed helps.
And I don't want to leave out Andrew Grothman either. I thought he was very good at the point of attack. He is a real bulldozer of a fullback.
Well, he certainly is, and we appreciate everything Andrew brings to our program. He's an excellent captain, and a lot of those runs are because he's such a solid blocker.
You know, defensively, let's talk about the safeties. I thought both played very well. Colton Hegel and Christian Dudzik, 16 total tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, a forced fumble by Dudzik. Those two are very, very good, all-American level players.
Well, they're great, and you know, Brian Shepard also comes into that group as well, so there's a lot of flexibility that we have, and they're great zone man guys. They support the run well. They're very physical. Here you can see Colton Hegel. That is it's not meant to be an intimidating hit, but you should have seen the sideline over at SIU. That's their big stud, and he tea-kettled them.
You know, and I think both these guys are very, very good tacklers, too. They're physical players, but talk about their tackling ability. Well, they just don't miss tackles.
It's difficult to tackle, and here you can see Christian goes low. He's deep in their backfield, and he's got great speed and athleticism. He's very aggressive.
Well, the one position where you're dinged up a little bit is linebacker, Coach, and let's talk about this. So Little John did not make the trip, and the 2 youngsters, DeLuca and Pierre G. Tucker, also banged up a little bit.
We were razor thin at the linebacker position. Those guys add such value to not only the scrimmage down, but the special teams. We fully anticipate Carlton will be back this next week. We're hopeful Pierre will be back. I think we're probably 2 or 3 weeks out on DeLuca.
And how about Shepard? His versatility allows you to overcome those injuries. He can play outside backer, safety. He can do a ton of things in nickel.
He does a lot of things on scrimmage down, and his value is off the charts in special teams. I don't know how many times you've seen him come down on a punt return where he nails a guy or kickoff coverage. He plays at a high level. It's been great to have him around.
Well, one of the great aspects of the Bison program is the medical staff, from the athletic trainers all the way down to the official medical docs. They do their work. They keep the Bison on the field, and we're going to talk to those guys next. Stay with us. Welcome back to the show. The Bison have every area covered when it comes to a smooth operating program. The medical team, from the athletic trainers to the professional doctors, is one of the biggest ingredients. The expertise and professionalism of the medical team gives Coach Bowl and his staff peace of mind that the team is always in good hands. Jamal Spencer has the Olaf Anderson Construction feature story.
You may cringe when you see them out on the field,
but their role behind the scenes is undeniable.
Oh, yeah, it's fantastic for the kids. The guys are there early at every game, and really helps out quite a bit.
The Bison have 2 orthopedic surgeons, a general practitioner, and 2 chiropractors on their sideline during home games.
Oh, yeah, you know, we all want to be there to help, and hopefully we can keep them going and keep that progress like we're doing right now.
And on the road, the team travels an orthopedic surgeon as well as a chiropractor. Not exactly common practice in FCS football, but a growing one.
You know, I think it's becoming more of a fact in all sports, in fact, huge in the Olympics, and I think they found out the merit of chiropractic work. Does a lot of good for the players and keeps them good and, you know, loosened up and maybe even healthier, we hope.
Rob Schulte has been working with ndsu for 25 years. He says he works on about 10 to 25 players before each game, as well as once a week at the Fargo Dome for an hour and a half.
You know, we see quite a few. They all like to be, it seems like it frees them up very well, and then they respond well to it, and hopefully they play better too.
The Sanford specialists can spend anywhere from 60 to 80 hours a week doing their day job before they help out the Bison. But they say the extra hours are well worth it.
Yeah, sometimes it gets a little tough. This road trip took a little coordinating to get things going and get out of there by the time the plane was going to leave. So, yeah, sometimes it's a little hard.
You know, you just do it, and you do it because you love the kids and you love the program, and that's my respect for them. And what I can do to help them, you know, I enjoy. So that's why I've been doing it as long as I have, and I'm going to continue as long as I can do it.
For the Craig Bowl Football Show, I'm Jamal Spencer.
Here are the latest in the...
Also, we should mention Bruce Pyatt, who was not on the trip this week, is also one of the key members, but the medical staff is huge. These guys do work constantly throughout the week, and they have their own jobs to worry about as well.
Well, without question, the partnership we've had with Sanford Health has been outstanding. We've appreciated, you know, Doc Schulte for many years, but keeping guys on the field is so critical. And then also, from a recruiting standpoint, knowing that we're able to go into homes and say, look what kind of medical care these guys are going to get. It's top shelf, as good as any place in America. Thanks for our partnerships.
Well, in this week's Peterson Farm Seed Future Crop of Bison, we take a look at Brad Ambrosius from De Pere, Wisconsin. With Cole Jurek battling shoulder injuries, Ambrosius had his red shirt lifted, and he has a bright future at defensive end. He is a winner, won a couple of state titles in high school, and he is ready to help the Bison right now.
I had an idea in the summer that if I worked hard enough and got the playbook down, then I might have a possible chance, but it was very slim. But it never really occurred to me that it would actually come true this season. I thought maybe next year I'd get the chance to play, but never this season.
Well, let's talk about Ambrosius a little bit. He came into the Missouri State game. You lifted his red shirt, and he's out there right now. He has a bright future, doesn't he? One of the big members of this recruiting class.
Well, he certainly does. And we talk about when guys are going to play as freshmen, usually there's a couple reasons. One, they've got to be emotionally mature, physically capable, and then we've got to have a positional need. And we suffered some injuries, and we rotate defensive linemen. We're really pleased with his progress.
How about the guys on the scout team or the guys that are redshirting right now? They always have to be ready, knowing that at any time you may need to lift their red shirt.
You know, we're living in the present, and we're going to do everything we can to win now. And those are always difficult decisions because typically you're trading their worst year of productivity for their best year in their fifth year. But like I said, we're out about championships, and these guys are much more physically mature than what they used to be.
And that last year's recruiting class, on paper, looked like one of the best one in years. Is it playing out that way? Are these guys looking really good in their redshirt years?
Yeah, they really are. And we felt like that going in after the signing date. And there's a good character. They're good students, and they work hard. Future really looks bright.
Well, coming up at Indiana State, a second consecutive road trip for the Bison. We're going to break down the standings as well. Talk a little bit about the Sycamores also. Stay with us.
It's time for another game-changing play in history. Presented by Pioneer brand T-Series soybeans. Be a game changer.
Takes a belt high snap, fires across the middle, high off the hands of a receiver, and intercepted by Colton Hegel at the 35, running left at the 40, 45, and pulled down on the line of scrimmage at the 48-yard line.
Huge play, tipped off the receiver's hands, goes up into there, and of anybody on the defense, who is it going to go to? The guy with the cast on his hand. But he has time, sets his feet, comes down with it, and actually returns it a little bit too.
Be a game changer. Plant Pioneer brand T-Series soybeans. from DuPont Pioneer.
Interesting play there, because that was our last trip to Terre Haute, Indiana, and that's what's upcoming here is another trip to see the Sycamores in Terre Haute. And 2 years ago, that's when Colton Hegel had that cast on his hand, as you see
You
there.
can see, and Colton's unbelievably resourceful. He had a cast. It was all bound up, but he came up with a big interception. We had a tough game a couple years ago there, and last year they beat us. We need to be playing our A game to have a chance to win in Terre Haute.
Well, as we look at the standings, there's still a couple tough games left on the schedule. There's no doubt. Youngstown State sitting at 7-1, 4-0. Obviously, Indiana State having a little bit of a tough run, but it's interesting to see how the league is shaking out right now, and old Joe Glenn laying in the weeds there at 3-1.
Well, that was a huge win they had when they beat the University of Northern Iowa. 3-1 puts them in a different position. They're 4-3, and some of the schools you thought were going to be at the top here, Northern Iowa is 0-3 right now. That's surprising to a lot of people, including myself.
You know, in Youngstown State, in the national scene right now, they made some changes in their coaching staff in the offseason. Mark Mangino is now on staff, and Wolford has it going there at 7-1.
Well, they certainly do, and they're an excellent program and have a great deal of respect. Youngstown's won 5 national championships. Everybody in the Valley's good, Jeremy. Everybody's good.
How about the Sycamores here now as we check in with this one? It's going to be statewide on NBC North Dakota, and it's also going to be on ESPN3 again. It's always a tough trip, especially when it's the second road trip in a row, 2 consecutive road trips.
Well, our guys have been pretty doggone resilient, and sometimes I think the road trips are tougher on the coaches and the players. But, you know, our guys will be well-versed and ready to go for these Terre Haute Sycamores.
All right, 7-0 the Bison, folks. Enjoy it, soak it up, and we will see you next week. Have a great one.